channel. My name is Teacher Smith and today we are going to see a very interesting topic of fractions. So let's just understand the topic using a simple question. So here the question says, Siti made a cake to share with her friends. She gave 2/9 of the cakes to Rani and 1/3 of the cake to Tom. What fraction of the cake did Siti keep for herself? Express your answer in the simplest form. So before we directly dive into the question, let's first understand what is the meaning of the question. At first there was a cake. Out of the total cake, 2/9, that is 2 parts out of 9 is given to Rani. And then out of the total cake, 1 part out of the third is given to Tom. The question is asking us about the fraction. Now, to understand the question well, let's try to take a very simple example first here. Here, we can observe, let's say, if there is a chocolate box, you can say. And now the fraction is 2/3. Now, I have to cut this chocolate box into the fraction of 2/3. So, how to achieve this? Oh wow, we all know that here 2/3, what does 2 represents? Oh, the parts that we select. What does 3 represents? The total number of parts. So here what we can do is, I can cut the entire chocolate box into 3 of the following parts. And out of this 3, how many parts do we need? Yes, just 2. So I'll shade these 2 parts. Now, here comes a challenge. Let's say if I cut the entire chocolate box more into half. Every part now has been divided by 2. You can see cut by 2, cut by 2, cut by 2. Now if I ask you to count the number of shaded parts that we select, count 1, 2, 3 and 4. At first, previously it was just 2 parts. Now it's 4 parts. And what is the total number of parts? It's 5 and 6. So let's say if I want to represent this in terms of fraction, how to do it? Perfect. It's just 4/6. But there's one thing to pay attention on regarding the shaded part. The shaded part, did it change? Of course not. So here what we can understand is both the fractions are actually equal. So there is a relation between the numbers that we can observe here. See, this was one big part. And now we cut each big part into 2 of the following part. Now one part has been split into 2. So similarly here, there were 2 of the following parts. Now I have 4. From 2, how I can get 4? Perfect. Just multiply by 2 because each part has been cut into 2. The same thing here. 3, how I can get 6? Yes, it's just times by 2. So what we can observe in here is, we can observe the part and the whole we can multiply with the same number, and actually the fraction still remains the same. So regarding the part and the whole, if you multiply using the same number, it will have the same fraction. Let's try to go into more deep using another example. Let's say the same thing, that is I have 2/3. This means cutting every of the part into 3 and just selecting 2. Now previously we cut each part into 2 parts. This time we'll cut each part into 3 parts. Now we can observe here. Now let's say if I want to count the number of shaded parts. Here let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 are the parts that are being shaded now. And what is the total number of parts? Perfect. It's 7, 8 and 9. So let's say if I want to represent a fraction for this. What will be the fraction? Perfect. It's just 6/9. Now also we can observe this was one big part, and this one big part, each part has been split into 3 of the following parts. So here we can observe it was 2, and from 2 every part has been split into 3. So how we can get 6? Perfect, just multiply by 3. Same thing, 3, how to get 9? It's just 3. So what we can observe here is the fractions are just equal. So in the part and the whole, if you multiply using the same number, so in fractions, the value of the fraction still remains the same. So here we can write down part and whole can be multiplied with the same number and the fraction still remains the same. Now understanding this, let's dive into our question. In our question also, the problem is there is a big cake. At first, the cake is cut into 9 of the total parts. We can observe from 2/9. And there the question says it's 3 parts part. So currently the whole number of parts are different. So let's just see how we can use this information. First of all, whenever there is a fraction, what's the best thing we can do to visualize this? Is there something that we can draw? Perfect. We can try thinking of drawing a model here. So let's say the cake looks like this for now. Let's say it's a rectangular cake. And now she gave 2/9. This means this model I have to divide it in how many parts? Perfect, 9 parts. And out of which, how many parts she gave to Rani? Just 2 parts. And this 2 parts has been given to Rani. Now comes the next challenging part, that is 1 out of 3. So out of the remaining, the total cake that is present has been split into 3 parts, and every of the part we have to just take 1. But we can observe the parts are completely different. I cannot see 3 parts here. So the best thing that we can do is, currently the total number of parts is 3. But the question said at first it was 9. So let's try to think how we can change this 1/3. The total 3 into 9. How we can achieve this? 3. How to convert it into 9? Is there something that we can multiply? Perfect. We can multiply by 3. But as we saw, if we are multiplying in the whole, we have to multiply in the part as well. So here, both the numbers can be multiplied with the same number and the fraction remains the same. So now, the fraction looks like 3/9. Now, out of the total 9 parts, 9 parts is already there. Can we find out 3 parts inside this that she gave to Tom? Perfect. So these are the 3 parts that we can highlight and write it down as Tom. Now the question says, express your answer in the simplest form and what fraction of the cake did Siti keep for herself? So how many units are left now? Perfect, 4. And what is the total number of units for the cake? It's 9. So how to represent it in fraction? It's nothing but 4/9. And that's how we can get the answer. So the most important thing that we can understand from this question is, first, there was a fraction present. And what's the best thing we did to represent the fraction? Did we draw something? We draw the fraction. So here, whenever you have question based on fraction, the first thing we can think of is, to analyze the question, we can draw a model. And then comes the second part. If the whole number of parts are different and if we want to make it the same, we can just multiply the whole and part with the same number and the fraction still remains the same. So here, part and whole can be multiplied with the same number and the fraction remains the same. And that's how we can solve this question. Now regarding the question or any other question, if you have any of the doubts, you can contact me using this QR code. This is a QR code for our P2, P3 study group. Send your doubts into the group and I'll help you to solve these doubts. So that's my time. I'm Teacher Smith signing off right now, but I'll see you in the next video.